What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Warstu here with a video on Avengers Endgame. So we're gonna be going over a potential plot leak for Avengers Endgame. So like always guys, take it with a pinch of salt. As we know, all the context and all the trailers we've had at the moment could very well be fake. You know, the marketing for this movie this year is very different to any other movie. You know, somewhat different. Kevin Feige confirmed. Yeah, that's somewhat different. So guys, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to never miss any Marvel DC content. Now, I do have these special limited edition Captain Marvel badge pin that I was given at the UK media screening for Captain Marvel. Maybe I could give it away if I get enough positive feedback for that. So go ahead and make sure to subscribe, guys. We are giving away the Hasbro Infinity Gauntlet. They are worth £135 GB and I think about $160 in dollars. So we will be giving that away at the end of this month. So if this plot leak is correct, don't let it ruin your movie experience. But let's be honest, guys, who walks into a cinema and remembers anything to do with any plot leak? Not me for sure. So careful for spoilers, because we like doing plot leaks here. The feedback's good. So let's go over it. So this is coming from Reddit. So original text. I have a good chunk of information regarding the first two acts of Endgame. The first act of this movie isn't very action heavy, but moves very quickly and covers a lot of ground. Tony and Nebula are trapped in space. Yeah, that's a fair comment. The whole opening is a spiritual reimagination. Tony escapes from the cave. He uses pieces of Nebula to repair the ship and escape to Earth. Title card, roll. Thanos is on Titan 2. Alone and meditating. Well, so far it kind of corresponds with some of the trailers and stuff we've seen, but like I said, guys, it could be fake. Gamora appears to speak with him. She forgives him for his action and apologizes for her own. Gamora disintegrates to reveal he is using the gauntlet to do some weird ass puppet show for himself. With the image of Gamora, this shows the audience the while damaged gauntlet does still work. This is interesting because the Russo bros did confirm that Thanos and the gauntlet are permanently damaged, but they didn't infer how. Ant-Man is falling through the quantum realm. He's trapped through time, seeing the past future laid out before him. He sees himself becoming Ant-Man, going to prison, and he even gets a glimpse of his daughter years down the road. Now that line there is interesting because they have cast an older Cassie Lang, so we are expecting an older Cassie Lang in some capacity, and also Catherine Langford, the star of 13 Reasons Why. Them two characters have been cast for some capacity. He tries to quit the realm as close to the present as possible. It lands a couple of weeks later than intended. How convenient. He exits on the roof next to the van and Pym equipment. No one is to be seen. After some New York City post-snapping establishing shots, we catch up with Captain America and War Machine at the Snap support meeting. I mean, some of this lines up with what we already know, so it is kind of interesting. The scene makes it clear that Cap has absolutely no intention of moving on. But obviously in the Big Game TV spot, Captain America says, some people move on, but not us, bananas. You know the scene when everyone thought it was saying bananas because in the text it said bananas. You know the bit where everyone thought Age of Ultron was talking, but he wasn't actually talking at all. That was what you call baiting a fishing rod in. So yeah, interesting. Thor has found a place for his people to live, and Rocket has joined him, as Rocket doesn't really have anyone else. Short Valkyrie cameo role here. I don't think we're just going to get her in a cameo role, because they obviously said everyone that didn't get a big part in the last movie got a bigger part in this movie. Thor wants to find Thanos ASAP and avenge the death by killing him. Valkyrie insists it's dangerous for the Avengers to strike back before they're ready. See, this is interesting because I'm making this video after reading the alleged leak description of the footage that the Disney shareholders were shown, and that literally says that Captain Marvel said to all the Avengers, you need to go find Thanos, you need to reverse the snap. So there's some convoluted, condescending, misleading context, but it is interesting. It's at the point that Rocket retrieves a signal from the Benatar heading towards Earth. He and Thor intercept the ship as it lands. Rocket is super bummed to see that everyone But Nebula is dead. They're not really dead. They are taken to another dimension via the Soul Stone. His comment on Stark's impressive modifications of the ship, and the two hit off immediately. Widow and Banner speak at the Avengers HQ. They still aren't really sure where they stand with each other. Steve and War Machine eventually join the group at HQ. Steve and Natasha want to try to do something to avenge the dead. War Machine and Banner are ready to give up, and they don't believe anything can be done. Tony makes a stop at home to see Pepper. He makes it clear that he needs to fix what happened, and she has to accept it. He leaves. A computer alarm sounds at the Avengers HQ, and they group to see that Fury's beacon has stopped transmitting the message that led them to it in the first place. Marvel shows up looking for Fury, and they begin to explain things to her. Now, this is very interesting because... wait there a second. Well, obviously not wait, I'm recording this live. So this was posted 3 days ago. So it's now Saturday morning, and 3 days ago would have been Wednesday. So unless you had an early screener for Avengers Endgame, or unless you lived in a country outside America, you probably couldn't watch this movie. So obviously we know there is a fake scene in the Captain Marvel movie where Captain Marvel shows up and is like, where is Fury? Now, I think the scene could go down like that, but I don't actually think that's how the scene's going to go down. But whoever wrote this, if it is a real plot leak, it's interesting. Because obviously she's only been to Earth a handful of times. And honestly, we don't really know, did Fury hit the panic button to Captain Marvel beforehand? Because just because we didn't see that, there's a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. missions and stuff that Fury's most likely done that we haven't actually seen. So it's interesting. Tony, Thor, Nebula, and Rocket approach the Avengers HQ. Thor senses an Infinity Stone nearby, and they prepare for a fight with Thanos as they soar into the compound. Now, yeah, like I said, guys, I think that first trailer is fake, but we do see Ant-Man and War Machine suiting up in Avengers HQ. But like I've said, and like many of our other channels that we are friends with, like Josh at the Dens of Nerd have commented, that scene could realistically be fake, but... it is interesting, could be green screen, it could be anything. Marvel, okay, it should say Captain Marvel because Marvel's a company, so it's going to get confusing. Marvel engages with the understandable, triggered, happy Tony and co. before Steve, War Machine, and Widow break up the fight. Let's be honest, if Captain Marvel's getting involved, she is whooping everyone's ass without even trying. Did you see Captain Marvel? She absolutely obliterated the Kree Ronin Accuser fleet by herself. Thor tells them the rest, that Marvel gives off the same energy as an Infinity Stone. Okay, so there's some validity, there's some evidence to this, because obviously she gets a power from the Tesseract, which I guess technically is a Space Stone, if in this situation, I guess you could say. So this is interesting, because this came out before the actual Captain Marvel was officially released, so there could be some evidence, some context to this actually being true. Banner asks if she can take some scans. See, this will be interesting, right? Because if they get some science people like Tony, like Shuri, Banner to scan her, they could somehow use her ability to smash Thanos somehow. Tony and Steve reunite. They don't speak about their differences. They only engage in awkward small talk. Yeah, that is how it's going to go down. But, you know, there's going to be some cute bromance scene where obviously Captain America throws himself off the cliff of Volmir to save everyone and get the Soul Stone. Thor expresses his wishes to go after Thanos, and Tony doesn't think it's worth the risk. Tony explains he wants to fix things just as badly as they do, but that he made the mistake of running into things head first too many times, and if they're going to attempt anything, it needs to be done carefully. Finally, Tony Stark is thinking with his mind and not with his egotistical, narcissistic, that isn't even a word, I know that, guys. He's actually thinking for once properly. The next day, Ant-Man shows up at the HQ. His daughter and family have disappeared, and he is freaked out. War Machine makes a joke about how many people have showed up at the door in their last day. They tell Ant-Man what happened with Thanos. Ant-Man explains the breakthrough they had with the quantum realm. Scott is convinced they can go back in time to change the events of the past and stop Thanos, but Tony makes it clear that changing the past is drastically too dangerous. I mean, for once, Tony's actually being intelligent from a kind of, I guess you could say, tactical point of view. He's obviously intelligent in the sense of making suits and coming up with modifications and new stuff, but he's not very clever when it goes to going toe-to-toe, because they were never going to beat Thanos, let's be honest. Ant-Man is hysterical and begs Tony to try anything, telling him about how he saw his older daughter in the quantum realm and believes some reality where she is alive must exist. They strike a chord with Tony. Banner finished analysing his scans of Marvel and speaks with Tony. He tells them that Captain Marvel is almost a perfect replica of an Infinity Stone herself, even more powerful than Scarlet Witch. Now, this is something I brought up in a live stream or a video. I brought it up somewhere that Scarlet Witch is pretty much the only Avenger that could go toe-to-toe with Captain Marvel because she could stop Captain Marvel from moving. So that's a very interesting fact that this plot leak, so to speak, has said. This leads Tony to the idea that he may be able to replicate the stones with the right tech. Damn, this is what I said in a video, I think a few weeks back. It is looking pretty likely that this could happen. They would be able then to retrieve the stones in the past without drastically upsetting space-time continuum. Oh my god, is this going to be a Star Trek movie? We'll never know, but it honestly could be. Tony goes to Wakanda with Banner, Marvel, Rocket, Nebula, War Machine to look into some of Shuri's research. Because remember, they're trying to mislead you in the trailer saying Shuri's disappeared, but realistic, guys, she hasn't. Anna scans a vision. They are able to get some useful information that will help them recreate something to control the stones. M'Baku pledges to help them should they need any help. Tony asks him to continue to use their tech to help the world deal with the repercussions of the snap. The rest of the group go look for Clint. They run into him showing off a new combat skill as Ronin. They manage to recruit him. On Titan 2, Thanos had a conversation with young Gamora. She shows him all of the souls he snapped. Now the group begin to plan their assault on Thanos. The plan is to copy each of the stones in the past via the quantum realm and form a new gauntlet. This is literally what I said in the theory video about a couple of weeks ago. The info from Shuri's computer helps them understand how to replicate the stones. Captain Marvel's composition helps them understand how to copy the stones. Once they get the new gauntlet, they will undo the snap and attempt to kill Thanos to keep him from doing it again and causing more damage. Ant-Man will help each team enter the quantum realm, and Marvel will help the other team pass through it. We get a time skip montage that brings us into a second act of the film. They aren't explicit about how long the skip is, but it isn't nearly as long as the other leaks have suggested, maybe a few weeks max. In this montage, Tony reworks some old tech with Banner and Rocket to make devices for copying the stones. They also make suits for everyone. We get a sneak peek of them at the War Buster armor. Cap gets his shield back. So yeah, we're going to get some variation of the quantum realm suits that are going to be the space suits as well. Before they set off, there are some character moments. Thor and Ronin discuss their losses of their family. Natasha and Banner talk about Banner unable to summon Hulk. Tony and Steve have an awkward conversation about working together. The team heads out in two groups. One will get the space and mind stones. One will get the reality and the power. They will regroup after that and move on to the final two stones. Space and Mind, Tony, Ant-Man, War Machine, Natasha, Banner, Battle of New York. The Tesseract is in plain sight. The Mind Stone is literally inside Stark's tower at one point with Loki defending it. Finally, there's a plot leak that mentions my boy Loki. Banner is tasked with copying the Tesseract while Natasha and War Machine help defend it. Banner struggles to bring out the Hulk. Still, Natasha tries to help hoax him out, but is unsuccessful. Tony and Ant-Man go after Loki and the Scepter, running into past Cap, who they have a brief comical interaction with. They disarm Loki immediately after a conversation with past Tony, and they copy the Scepter before giving it back to him. Much to his surprise, evacuating the situation after copying the stone to shock of the past character becomes a bit of a running joke. Banner comes face to face with past Hulk after the Hulk saves him from the T'Chari. They share a silent state and Banner has some kind of visible mental cope. With both sides copied, they ditch the city, much of the confusion of the old Avengers. Reality and power. Thor, Captain Marvel, Rocket, Clint, Nebula, Thor combined knowledge and tell them that they were two stones on nowhere at one time. They intercept the Guardians, showing them the stones to collect, and they demand to bring the Reality Stone. He brings them to a massive receptacle. He keeps the Reality Stone and they prepare to copy the stone. Unfortunately for them, they still need to deal with Ronan. Rocket figures that preventing him from showing up entirely will affect the time-space continuum. Marvel, Thor, Rocket, Nebula fight alongside the past Guardians to hold back Ronan's army with the stones are copied, mostly playing defense, so not as much of the passage change. Ronan, Cap defend the stones up close. They manage to copy the stones and abandon the Guardians, much to their confusion. During the copying scene, we see Thanos on Titan 2. While the stones are being copied, the stones in his hand, gauntlet, begin to flicker as if they are being activated. Thanos notices this and puts his gauntlet on. He pauses for a moment and says Stark. So obviously Thanos will actually know what's going on, but this is the more it's the more logical way than just nicking the stones from the past. The group meet back at HQ on their way through the quantum realm. Tony sees that he and Pepper have a daughter in the future, which very well could be the Catherine Langford character that is officially confirmed and verified to be in this movie. They repair the equipment and Cap congratulates Tony on a clever plan. They send Thor and Cap to go find Wong for the next phase of the plan. Natasha and Banner discuss Hulk. Banner realizes that he has been underappreciative of the Hulk, saving his ass and treats him like a child. Tony goes home to see Pepper before the final mission. He's attacked by several Outriders at his home. He kills them and rushes back to HQ. Cap and Thor are also attacked while recruiting Wong. Everyone returns to HQ. Thanos attacked. Thanos is kicking ass. Marvel holds her own. Banner merges to Hulk, finally. Even the odds. Wong tricks Thanos to trap him in an ultimate dimension. He clears that it won't hold Thanos for long. They group begin hunting the last two stones. After this, unsure what happens. So this is pretty interesting, as it says it is only Act 1 and 2. There is a bit of an incontinuity issue because obviously Doctor Strange set this up. We are now in Endgame, and this doesn't mention Doctor Strange anywhere throughout this. I think this is one of the better plot leaks and all the kind of supposed plot leaks. It is interesting. It does factor in Captain Marvel's powers, how she gets them, obviously where they come from, how it's powered. So the fact that whoever wrote this plot leak or got hold of this information, they must have already had intel on the Captain Marvel movie to write this, or it could be legit. Like I said, guys, this is a Reddit post and not everything on Reddit does come true, but it has gotten an upvote of 94%, and like we know before from other leaks, someone that wrote the Infinity War leak for Infinity War was 95% correct about major and minor details of that actual movie. So for me, this literally could be true. There could be a lot of these parts are correct. But like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you do want to enter the competition for the Hasbro Infinity Gauntlet, as we will be doing this at the end of the month, all you got to do is subscribe to the channel and let me know anything down below. What's your favorite superhero? What's your favorite villain? Do you like Goose the Cat? Literally anything down below will get you entered into the competition, as long as you do subscribe to the channel, because when I pick the winner, I will check to see if you subscribed to the channel, and if you haven't, then I'm going to have to keep picking it until we find someone that has subscribed to the channel. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.